We're an online B2B SaaS platform for growers, suppliers, and retail stores to purchase all their ancillary supplies through an online platform. We centralize all the purchasing that they need to do for their business in a single platform. And we rely heavily on integrations, especially on the accounting side for things like QuickBooks, Sage and Tact, to keep that platform synced up with their accounting, heavily reducing all the actual accounting work that they have to do. Every time I heard, we need to integrate into something else, I would always think, okay, we're looking at least a month or two here before customers can see it. I usually try to get the specs ready before I go to the developers because I want them spending as much time writing code and less time trying to figure things out. So there's quite a bit of upfront work that has to be done, but there's always this point where I say, okay, we're going to go integrate into Slack. I need you to go review their API documentation. We need to start, building OAuth tokens, and there's just a lot that goes into it before we can even really truly get started on the development of an actual integration that like a customer might benefit from. But then you look at how do I maintain this for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, with the vendors changing their own APIs. They're updating their platforms, they've got new stuff coming out. And so every integration we did was also a commitment for long-term support. We've had to do things like build out parts of our platform that are decoupled from our API, using things like service buses, event queues, so that way we can kind of mitigate any kind of disaster. So we actually started having some customer requests come in for a variety of different platforms. So we had, Slack, we had QuickBooks, we had Teams, and everybody wants it now. So I couldn't really prioritize and say, okay, we're going to do QuickBooks first, and then in 2 months we'll do Slack, and then in 2 months we'll do Teams. So I started looking at ways, how can we do this in parallel or do this faster? But not only do it faster, but I also wanted a good solution that was stable for us for a long time. I'm really just a guy who likes to roll up my sleeves and try it out before I make sales calls and get demos. So I did a trial of Paragon, and I think literally I had a proof of concept for a Slack integration within less than 4 hours built into our platform. Really, everyone was trying to figure out how did we do this? How did we get Slack tied up so fast? And it was Paragon. We had just great documentation, super easy JavaScript libraries, tied right in with our React front end. So we got an actual proof of concept done very, very quickly, which helped a lot, and them understanding why this is such a unique tool for us as a SaaS company. One of the really beautiful things about Paragon that my dev team has just loved is that we can call the API directly on QuickBooks. So even if there's something that we need to do that's fancy and extra special, we just call the Paragon API, and it calls the QuickBooks API. It kind of middlemans that call. And that gave us unlimited potential. So my dev team really didn't have to learn so much about all the connections to QuickBooks and how do we manage those tokens for customers and how do we get them to initially approve the app, get the app listed. There was just a lot of stuff that before we could even write a line of actual functional code, we had to solve those problems. And so the dev team was very excited. They're like, we don't have to solve any of those things. We can literally just go straight into how does MainStem tie into QuickBooks? And we've actually done a really good job. We're syncing bills and marking them as paid. There's a lot of integration that happens on that QuickBooks side. A customer that had a really complex environment where they had multiple QuickBooks accounts, and we were able to adopt to that very, very quickly, all thanks to the Paragon API. In the future, we're looking at probably taking some of the in-house integrations we've done through like Shopify. We've got, in-house stuff that we've done to build that. And that was, 2 years ago. We're still supporting that. My dev team has been asking me, can we move it to Paragon? So we've got one centralized platform in place to put all of these things. And now knowing that we have a custom integration builder, I think that was kind of one of my things was like, well, we'll have some on it and some not on it. Now I feel completely unlocked in the sense of we could really put everything on this, which would really help us just manage and maintain the integrations long-term. I was able to pop open a modal, our customers enable it. There's some options there, and how Paragon uses that front end interface for customers to enable, disable, or manage the integration. And because it's so modern and clean looking, it worked so well with our platform that there wasn't a lot of feedback other than what other integrations can we do? I think the confidence has just gone up. So when our sales team is talking to people or doing demos, it used to be like, oh, do you guys integrate into QuickBooks? Well, I don't know. Let me go ask the dev team. We'll find out. Now it's, if it's on the Paragon site, they know that it's a 100% yes. Like we can get that done for you. But Paragon's also been great in that too. When we first started, Teams was about to be released or kind of on the roadmap. And we said, we've got some customers that would really like to use that. And Paragon got that up and running within, I think, a week or two of us putting in that request. So they were able to keep up to the pace that we are too, which is great. We're not waiting months and months for roadmap changes or anything. The Paragon team has been really just phenomenal at making adjustments very, very quickly for any feedback that we might have provided. I've been doing CTO work for startups and large companies for the last 15 years of my career. When I think, is there any place I've been to that would not have benefited from Paragon? I think companies, small, medium, and large, all would have benefited. Definitely early stage startups. Integrations is always a tricky thing because you want to spend your development time building your product and really working on what problem you're trying to solve. And integrations always just comes naturally. People want integration because it just makes their life easier. They don't have multiple channels they have to communicate with. So, if you're an early stage startup and like a QuickBooks integration or a Slack, getting some updates there, really start with Paragon, because as you gain traction, you're going to be able to release more integrations very, very quickly. And then for medium to large or enterprise, I would say it's still a phenomenal tool because especially with the building your own integrations with third-party things, you can really focus on building the integration between the two products and not the implementation of it, not the long-term maintenance or support of it. And then also with Paragon, I think one of the really big things is, with that Paragon UI, having people who are not developers, who don't write code, be able to change and manage how an integration interacts is extremely powerful. When you have people who are on your integrations team, your onboarding team, to be able to go through the logs and see what's going on, or to be able to make a change without having to reach out to the development team, just really releases all that development effort that you need to put normally into integrations, they can be putting into product. And so Paragon can really just take you from an early stage startup to a business like ours, with thousands of customers and hundreds of thousands of API calls a week. Paragon can scale to any size that you need it to. So I just want to say, shout out to everyone at the Paragon team. I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job. You're helping companies like us innovate and build better product, which just makes the world generally better for technology and companies like us. So thank you so much for being such a great partner.